Hi, I'm John Cole, and I'm the idea guy or founder of Muezbiz.com. I thought of Muezbiz back in 2012. And I was really more thinking about the book world, which I've lived in for many years as a service to publishers as a graphic designer. To begin my story, I like to share a moment in my life. As I grew up, there was a record store in every town. Now that's the problem of today. Those stores don't exist anymore. The idea I had thinking about Muezbiz back in 2012 that really sprang to mind, and I sent off a letter to my brother, a poor man's copyright letter, and in the hopes of getting this valuable idea to the market sooner than I thought it could ever go. What did I know back then? And I know a lot more now about the pitfalls of trying to get a startup into reality. So the idea basically was this: to create an umbrella brand name that everybody could upload their content to. Now, Amazon has been very successful in having people upload all their content for gratis, for free, for many years, as iTunes has. But these models are 20th century thinking. They are pyramid models. And Muezbiz is really the opposite. It is 21st century thinking. It is truly multi-tiered marketing. But the big difference between the Amazons and the iTunes, which predominate the entire market in today's web, is that Muezbiz shares its profits. It's a sharing concept where online members, Muezbiz members, can become retailers on the site and can easily access all that content that publishers have been uploading to and sell within a timeline similar to a Facebook timeline. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is, when I say that it was a record store in every town, well, that implies the local aspect. So Muezbiz can focus on the local. Now, let me talk this out a little bit. When you look for a product on the net, you're likely to turn up on Amazon's lap because it's a product, and everything practically out there today is product driven. But when you look for an idea or something you might be interested in, the search parameters change. And so Muezbiz is really about what people are interested in. So I chose music as a very simple way to classify those areas of interest. So you have jazz, and you have rock and roll, and you've got country, and you got religion, and these are ideas. They're not product, but within those ideas exists product. So here's this timeline, and people communicate their ideas. They share within the timeline. So in the future, to simplify the concept, there'll be an app on jazz. And when you come down into the world of jazz, everything on that world is jazz. And there are clubs that help define the jazz genre even further. Say, for instance, you might have jazz on Count Basie. So here you have what I've built is an international club on Count Basie. The timeline itself, though, is regional. It's about, in Santa Fe, you're going to have Santa Fe jazz events, Santa Fe jazz conversations. In Albuquerque, you're going to have Albuquerque events and Albuquerque conversations. In New York, you'll have New York conversations, etc. It's very localized, and you find people who are interested in the same subject that maybe you are in the music world. So from that, now you can redevelop your local shoppers. And from what I said earlier, you create one umbrella that everybody uploads their content to, all of a sudden gives Muezbiz the same leverage that iTunes and Amazon have to allow local retailers to sell at a discounted price. Okay, so here's a very big model that I'm working my caboose off to bring to the world, and I hope more people can begin to understand the value, because Muezbiz diversifies economies. As I said earlier, it's a multi-tiered marketing system where many people can profit, and for the person shopping, they know they're buying from their neighbor. They know they're buying from somebody local. Muezbiz model, but this one. Muezbiz features a timeline of events as well as the conversations. So individual people within their own communities can fill out a very simple form and have their event posted. But say you got a band that's starting out in Nashville, Tennessee, and they have an upcoming road show, maybe 20 stops across the country. Well, they can upload a bulk list of their content, their roadshow deadlines, ticket costs, times, photographs, videos to this timeline, and that event will appear in every local timeline as they cross the country. So as soon as they upload it, actually, it's on their timeline on all these cities across the country, and the timeline works in an order of priority. It works from the newest event occurring and to the latest that was uploaded. So as the time goes, the events go up the column and they appear at the top, the closest you are to it. And of course, they're just deleted when the date passes. People ask me, well, why music? And I stated earlier that it allowed me a very simple structure that I could easily see. My original idea had to do with bookstores and developing a way to search interest through an old bookstore structure. Murder mysteries, science fiction, what have you. You had those structures, history, blah. Music allowed me to much more simplify that and to develop a site that was more modular, and where I could have an app for each genre, really become clear the structure and the developing of the site itself. So why music? It was a simple way to approach, and I also kind of like the underdogs. I always have. Blame it on my father. But the music industry is under stress right now, and how is it competing against the streaming models that are so popular? I'm a fan, that's for sure. But really, if you understand streaming models, it's like radio. There's not much difference. They do have more curation going on than radio, and a lot more structure in those regards. But it's very much the same model as old time radio. So, Muezbiz, if people understand the value of that old record store, which a lot of this generation will never have, they come into their world of record storeness, and you'd find your friends there, you'd find the owner there, and you'd go through paw through the record collections, finding those things you enjoy, and your best friends are saying, hey, this is a great one, you should check this out, it's really kind of cool. So that is the world I want to recreate, those worlds that young people can sit on the timeline and converse back and forth. Here's another one I've neglected to mention. What Muezbiz does that doesn't do anywhere else than that. You can search, if you're from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and you have your conversations going, you can search New York City and see what conversations are going on in New York City. And share those conversations. Share that communication inside your Santa Fe, New Mexico conversations, and even find the content that the publishers were uploading in New York and share in your Santa Fe conversations. Muezbiz is a internet platform for shoppers, publishers, and retailers all on one site. It is a mashup of all the technologies that have come It's not rocket science, but there are aspects of it that will have to be. Security being one of them, GPS location, that'd be very cool because as it moves into mobility, that's a necessity. So there is some rocket science there, but for the fundamentals of it, it's just a way I choose to look at our world. Why am I interested in applying for creative startups? It's because I'm a designer, I'm a nerd, and I just need to know a lot more about the business world itself. I need to know when the time is right how to step into financing because the biggest portion of this job will actually be in the marketing of it. When you got Goliath to play with, you got to let everybody know and carry a big enough stone. So I've got to learn a bit about those aspects as well as some of the pragmatic. So when I go into trying to really build a team, and that's what I want to do, I'm just not building a bunch of Hollywood stars, although I'd like a few of those, that'd be kind of handy. But I really need to know the kind of people I should be looking for who can really add to this idea and not subtract to it. And I have to say, well, sorry, this ain't going to work out in a couple of years. So that is why I'm coming into creative startups. Thank you, guys.